African Canadian Voice today. I'm going to interview Mr. Yemi, the owner of African Caribbean Food Mart here in Hamilton Street in London, Ontario. And he's going to tell us a lot about African food he imports from Africa to supply the need in here. Welcome to our show, Mr. Yemi.
Oh, thank you very much for coming.
Yeah. Mr. Yemi, tell me a little bit about your background before we go into the details of your business and how you started.
Oh, well, my name is Yemi Taiwo. I moved to Canada from Nigeria in 2009, December precisely. Then, we are living in Caledon, in Brampton. And we now look at, when we go to other African stores, we buy different things and we see because we believe ourselves that we eat organic food, and I have children and we are not able to cope with the Canadian product, then we go to African store and buy some stuff. And at the end of the day, I just decided, I said, wow, I want to move. I need a change of environment. And my wife said, okay, let's look for somewhere better. And we look onto London. First of all, we think London is not a big community, and we start coming every week to look for a house. And we said, oh, if we have a house here, there's other thing we can do in London here. And she said, okay, there's only one African grocery store in London. Why don't we try to bring something back to London again? And we said, okay, let's look first of all, let's look at the population. And at the end, we think that we have enough people living, black community living in London here. And we said, okay, let's have a store. And we started this store, precisely April 2017. And we start bringing stuff, and we think, because we eat natural products, especially there's some different products around this year, around me, that we eat, and we said, okay, let's bring them. Let's bring them. And all of a sudden, we start importing from Africa, but it's a big challenge when we start importing from Africa of different products. Like we import gari, which is called cassava flour. We import beans, which we are seeing around us. We import egusi, which we call melon. We import crayfish. We import locust beans, where they call iru in Africa. Some people call it dawa dawa. And we import the suya spice. And especially when we are talking of a suya spice, it's a different thing.
The whole need of this establishment for starting your entrepreneurial expedition started from your need, and then you kind of saw also the same problem with the other African Canadians. Is that right?
Yeah. Really, because when I came out in 2009, so we have a lot of challenges in getting some African product, because it's hard for me just to change my food, eating system, what I eat. So we started looking around, and it's very difficult to get some stuff. Then we try to bring stuff. Maybe we try through the airline to bring, but it's hard. Then I now look at, I said, if we can bring this, there are some other African communities that will have the same problem. They will need the same thing like us. So that's when we said, okay, let's have a store. Maybe we can bring those products and reach out to people.
Exactly. So were you satisfied that that kind of assessment of the market, the need in here, was the real identification of the kind of other people have, like you? Or in terms of bringing the variety of the food, the variety of the spices and all these things? How did it go?
Oh, well, because in Africa we have different communities. We have the East African, we have the West African, we eat different things. And all of a sudden, we have our own spice, and they also have their own spice. It's just the introduction of the business. Through the business, we bring our own spice. Then we started looking for different community. What do they eat? What type of food do they take? And we started bringing it from different parts. And that is why, especially when we talk of something different, like there's something we call matoke. The Cameroonians or Uganda, Burundi, Uganda, they call it matoke, and me, I don't even know nothing about it. We knew nothing, and we start bringing it because they said it's their traditional food. Even we from Nigeria, like especially we Yoruba, we have in Nigeria we have Yoruba, Igbos, and Hausas. We eat different type of varieties, and from there, through the business, we start bringing, because we have to bring all African community together in London here, so we can reach out to them. That they know they feel at home, they don't feel lacking of anything from back home.
How does that go in terms of reaching out to those different?
It's a big challenge.
Yeah.
It's so because there are some products I don't even know their names in their own language.
Exactly.
So I will now ask, please, can you describe it for me? The moment they describe it for me, I said, okay, we're gonna get it. And along the line, I learned from other African community, how did they do this? What did they use it for? What's the purpose of them having it? So it's a huge challenge, especially Africans, because it's just no one side. It's a lot. You have to learn about it, and I still continue to learn.
That's it. It's a continuous learning, because Africa is so big, so diverse, different cultures, different ethnicities, different ways of living and things like that. And serving that market is quite a challenge, and I can see you're taking a very great challenge, but at the same time also feeling the great need. And we'll continue on this, but for now we'll take a short break. African Canadian Voice. We're going to continue learning about the different food of African origin. Mr. Yemi, could you tell us a little bit more about these different ingredients you have, where they originate from, how we use them, and things like that? He might have an encyclopedic knowledge of all this stuff, and we need to learn about it. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, we want to talk about ogbono. This is a local name called ogbono, and it's made from the pumpkin seed. First of all, we have to dry the pumpkin seed, and then we blend it up to make ogbono. Mostly, this is a food from a community called the Igbo from Africa, from Nigeria. Yoruba too. Yoruba take it too. They make it. How to make this is, they have to make it with a little water and put a palm oil inside. For a little time, they have to leave it to let it to be fermented. After fermented, now they will now bring a pot, and they now put in the pot and put some oil inside and put some ingredient, like when you want to put a fish or you want a beef, you can put it in, and you're gonna put your salt or a little other spicy stuff. It depends on the way you want to make it to your own taste, and your that is how, like, some people may decide not to use fish, some will decide to use beef, so it depends on the way you want that.
So
that is how.
Is there some sort of seasoning you use on beef, on fish, or basically you cook it with
basically that? There's no seasoning on the fish or the meat. It's just you want you do your normal meat, or you boil it. So you want to fry it, you can fry it and then add it in.
Okay.
So that is all about this. And
what is this guy? Oh,
this is called suya spice. This is so nice, and this is one every time I want to be with this product. This is called suya spice. This is made from cayenne pepper, grounded with groundnuts, grounded with garlic, so all being blended together. And there's some a little salt inside, just a little, not much. It depends on when you want to use it. And this is used for barbecue.
Okay.
Especially barbecue. We use it for barbecue because at home, in a party, you decide to make a chicken barbecue, you decide to make a beef barbecue, or we call the suya. The suya aspect is the meat, a beef, being spread and put in the oven, or you put on the barbecue and with some heat. But we use this to eat. Some people decide to spread it on it when they are making their barbecue. It's a very nice spice. It's organic. It's natural. This we call pepper soup spice. This is a pepper soup spice. This is basically a mixture of different spice in it. We use this like when you make your fish, your meat, you boil it and you add it on it. So it brings the flavor on with the inside the meat or the flavor with the fish. This is another thing we call locust beans. So this locust beans, some call it Iru. Iru is in the name of a Yoruba because most of this product is from the north or from the west. Okay. So we call it Iru, and it's a spice. We add it up onto any cooking to bring, instead of you using the regular Maggi, this is the local Maggi that we had on the food. We had inside the food for eating.
So you can put it in.
You can put it in any food.
Any food. Oh wow.
This is a cayenne pepper.
Cayenne pepper.
Yeah, it's a cayenne pepper, dried cayenne pepper, because you can't blend it when it's wet. We have to dry it and then we blend it.
I see.
So it's spicy.
Okra.
This is another thing that we are looking at. This is blended okra.
Okay.
So you have to dry it naturally and you blend it to become powder.
I see.
Than using the fresh one.
Yeah. We'll take a break for now and we'll continue learning about the different flowers he brings for African Canadians in here. All sorts of things over there. Now let's check the flour you have in here and what kind of need it serves.
Oh well. First of all, we want to start with the yam flour, which is mainly from yam, and it's been dried and been grounded into powder. Because we call it yam flour. In natural name we call it elubo. That is the native name. But here the English name is yam flour. So it's just basically the yam being blended. So, and another thing, we have the cassava flour. This cassava flour is the same way being made like the yam. We have the cassava tuber, we have yam tuber. From the cassava tuber, we blend this to become powder. And this is mostly general food to most of the all Africans. Because Congo, Cameroon, Burundi, Rwanda, Ethiopia, if you're eating this cassava flour, because all Africans, almost of us always eat cassava, and we want something that is being produced from cassava. It's just basically the grounded tuber of cassava turned into powder.
Okay.
Now we have the gari, and this is called gari jebu. Why we call it the gari jebu is because there is a community in Nigeria named Ijebu. This is what they produce mostly. And every Nigerian they will say, oh, I want gari jebu for smoking. Like what I mean by smoking is you can just put in the water and let it rise and you can drink it. So we call it generally when you are smoking gari or you
because it's the moisture.
Yes. Yeah. But it's something you put in the water, you drink, like using your spoon to take it. And it's made from cassava tuber too. And this is fermented. And we have the yellow one too. The yellow one, the difference between this white and the yellow is the yellow one is being mixed with palm oil.
Now we are beside the freezer. It might be a little bit noisy, but it's part of the business and they have to have that freezer going on. They don't want to spoil the food. So we're coming to this section and we're going to learn about the different vegetables and supplies he has in here. What is this? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
This is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
This is a banana they call, it comes from Uganda.
Uganda.
And it's a banana called matoke.
Matoke.
And they give it another name, cooking banana.
Mm-hmm.
To some, Uganda is a natural food. And this banana always come every week. So you can see from the box, it's written fresh product from Uganda.
Uganda,
so
okay.
We bring it in every week.
Every week.
And most Uganda make it for their dinner. And they are so they love it so much. Mm-hmm. And
do you know a little bit about how they make the dinner?
Like I said earlier, in the trade we have to learn.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm not from Uganda, but I brought something from Uganda that is more essential to them.
Yeah, exactly.
So they said, first of all, they need to peel it and cook it. After cooking, they now stir it to make it in form of fufu.
Fufu, I see.
What they said is a natural food from their country.
Okay. Tell me what's fufu.
Fufu is like the formation of any what do we call any grains? Because this when they cook it, they turn it and it's been fermented and they now turn it in form of ball.
I see.
Fufu is what we use to eat the soup.
The soup.
Anything you make that's in a ball, you put it on your plate, we call it fufu.
Okay.
Generally.
I see. Okay.
This is called garden egg.
Garden egg.
And it always comes from Uganda every week because we can't store it for a very long time. I always import both of them, the matoke and this at a time.
I see.
And we eat more from my own country. We use it as a sauce for eating yam. We blend it with some pepper, and it comes for a sauce. So, but some do eat it this way. Some take it this way as a snack. So, and it's a essential product to many Africans too that knows about this garden egg.
Okay.
This is a cayenne. We call it habanero pepper. It's a spice that anybody that always like to eat spice stuff, you have to blend one of it inside his stuff, inside his soup.
Is it very hot?
It's hot. This is very hot.
Really hot?
Very hot.
Okay.
That is why we call it habanero.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will take a short break and then we'll continue our conversation with Mr. Yemi. We're going to continue talking to Mr. Yemi. Mr. Yemi,
yes,
we've seen a lot of stuff in your store, and you must have a background in entrepreneurship to do this, or what was your background before you came to?
My background originally is not an entrepreneur. I don't even think of having a store. So my background is an engineer by profession.
Wow.
So it's something switching from 10 back to 1, the way I look at it. Because when we moved to London and we decided to have a store, I was looking about the challenges. What am I going to go about this? Or what am I going to do to bring things together?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, because I have a support, which is my partner, my wife, she's the one that said, there's nothing impossible. We have to start something, and you have to just be firm with it and be serious with it, and you're gonna get there. And that is how I decided. I said, okay, let's start. And from there, gradually. And first of all, we started from a smaller space. In 2017, we started from a smaller space, and then we started knowing more products. When I started getting more products, I said, oh, I need an expansion. I need where to put it. And we now expand to this side.
Yeah.
When we put both together. And now, we look at people in London before. We said there are no much population now. There's a lot of population in London, and we decided to have another location.
Yeah.
Close to the north side.
Yeah.
So for the people that from the north will not travel far to come down here, it's better for them to go to the next store over there, which is on 89 Wentcliffe Road North. So that's our second location. Okay. And we are now bringing another location, not even in London yet. Yeah. So we are trying to expand. And as time goes on, when we see the way London is expanding, moreover London is expanding, we're trying to bring another location within London to lock up London and said, oh, we have African community that we can serve in London here.
In terms of reception by the wider Canadian community about your products, how do you find it? You know, African Canadians, of course, love to have the stuff from back home. Yeah. But what about the Canadian society? Oh,
thank you. That's a good question. Like a Canadian society, most of the Canadian wants to eat African food. Yeah. Because they believe it's organic. And they want to eat organic products. Yeah. So some will come to my store and ask me, oh, what is this? What is that? It's my own duty to let them understand. Yeah, this is it. This is what we use to make this. Yeah. So sometimes it's being clarified on the internet. I said, if you're not well satisfied, you can easily go on internet. You have the name. Yeah. You will see the recipe. Yeah. How these things are being made, and it's been amazing to people. Yeah. I see a lot of Canadian community that comes down here. Yeah. That okay, how we want this, and sometimes I'm surprised that do you eat it? Yeah, and they said yes, they eat it, and because they like it.
Yeah, that's what the dimension I wanted to know, and I mean this is a brick and mortar store you have. Do you have online version of how, for example, if I want to order suya, can I order online?
Yeah, well, we have a website right now. We're still working on it as it goes because we are adding more products. So you can go on our website and look for what you need and place an order down here, and then we get it to you.
Yeah. Do you make deliveries as well?
Yes, we do. We do make delivery. Yeah. So if you need anything, just let us know. We do the delivery for you.
Yeah. So mom could have 3 kids at home. She cannot come here. Give you a shot.
Yes, give you a shot. You're gonna get it.
I see.
So you go through our website. You see our numbers. You call our numbers. Then you call anybody that work at the office at that time. You pick up and you place the order. Then we send down to you.
Wow, that's excellent. So you have different marketing channels.
Yes.
The website, delivery.
And delivery there.
Come in.
Walk in.
Yeah. And that's good. We'll take a break for now and come back. Thank you very much for staying with us. African Canadian Voice was really pleased to discover the different food varieties Payless African Caribbean Food Mart brings to the local African Canadian and Canadian market in London. On the next episode, we'll be discovering other areas of African culture.